this chapter then, transpiration, and this is also full of experiments, and uh, let's see how much you can follow the theories with respect to the experiments. And see, right now, cause uh, we are facing this problem regarding the labs and all that, because you can't go to the school labs. So one thing you can do that, if any of the experiment theoretically is not followed by you, okay, just visit online. There are several animated videos are there for particular experiment. Just go for it, watch it, and you will understand it much more with much more clarity. Okay, because theory do explains it, but how it is happening, that can be visualized. Either you perform it or somebody else performs for it, performs for you, then only it can be seen. Okay, so let's see, first we will do this transpiration, that this we, as we have studied photosynthesis, and this is also one of the major physiological process for plant. Major physiological process, and from the tip of root till the tip of leaf is participating in this. Okay, that means it starts from the root system below the ground, and it is uh, uh, followed till the where the shoot system ends. Okay, so basically what we are when we talk about respiration, definitely our concentration or our focus goes on leaves, because leaves have stomatas and all that. Okay, so majority of the portion of transpiration is done by leaves only, but some barks, trunk, branches are also responsible for little bit of transpiration. That will also be that we will also discuss. And let's see that first of all, that how it can be observed, or how you can see it, or you can try at your home also. Okay, so transpiration is nothing but it's a loss of water, or release of water. You can use this word, release of, not specially water, it should be in form of vapor. Okay. So release of water vapors in the environment by the plant is called transpiration. Okay, and definitely when the root are sucking the groundwater. Okay, and they both all these things are dependent on each other. That means if you have a plant, and below that you have a root system, and above the ground it is there with so many leaves, if you observe it like this, that more the transpiration is, the rate of transpiration, if it is more, okay, then suction of water will be also more. Okay, suction of water is also increases. It's just the way we feel thirsty if it is very much hot environment. If it is the temperature rises, we feel thirsty, we drink lot of water, for we sweat lot, we do even a sweating. Okay, so you sweat so much, then you feel thirsty, you will have water, then you will again sweat. Okay, so that is how the plant also do. If the rate of transpiration increases, rate of suction of water will also increases from below the ground. So basically, directly water is not lost by the plant in the environment. It should be in form of vapor. Vaporization process occurs. Okay, and the thing is that about this is that when the water is absorbed by the roots, okay, uh, it you must have seen the capillary in your lab. They are very thin tube like structures. Hmm. Very thin, just you must have seen pipettes. You have seen pipettes. uh, just like them, you have capillaries, but they are very much thin, very much delicate in nature. So what is happening from this, that you must know that xylem is responsible for the water transport in the plant. So xylem can be as thin as capillaries. They are very thin, thin vessels actually. So what is happening when they are sucking this water, and this water has to be sucked just because of the pressure created by the transpiration. Because here, if the loss of water vapor is more, then definitely the pressure is being created, suction. Okay? The way the way we use our straw for sucking juice and all that, same thing is happening with this capillaries, xylem vessels. Okay, so more transpiration, more absorption, more suction of water will be there. But uh, to protect the plant, to protect the groundwater, there is a lot of control systems are also working for the transpiration. Okay, that we in last chapter we have studied that how the guard cells are working to close the stomata and to open the stomata. That is what being is followed in this chapter also. Okay, so you can see the experiment for this.
Miss transpiration takes place only when air takes
Mm,
place. Respiration takes place,
yeah, I
isn't it?
didn't understand.
Miss means any area where respiration takes place, in that area only, not transpiration will take place.
For respiration for plants, you are asking me.
Yes, miss.
See, it is not like same area or something like that.
No, miss.
Uh,
I'm telling the leaves. Respiration takes place in the leaves, so transpiration also takes place in the leaves.
yeah, respiration occurs in other parts also in the plants. It is it,
Roots
it
also,
is
miss.
It is not like only leaves. When we are talking about respiration, we should go to the cellular level. That means till the level of cells. Okay, because you must be knowing that plant doesn't have organ system. They have the system till tissues only.
Okay, miss.
Okay, you must have seen that cells and group of cells makes
Tissue,
tissues,
then
and
organ.
tissues makes tissue system for plants. But for us, for animals, the tissues will should go for organs and then organ system,
Organ
something
system.
like that occurs. But for plants, this is not there. It ends over here only. So if you talk about respiration, it is in the cells. It is, you don't have a particular organ or a particular the whole leaf, something like that, it will be doing that particular process. Okay, it occurs in the cells.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Okay, so you can see the experiment for the transpiration is that just take a small plant, a lightweighted one, at your home, and just do one thing, that cover it with a polythene bag. Okay, and tie it up. It's definitely a cruelty for the plant, but if you want to observe the transpiration, you have to do that. Just tie it up with the uh, polythene bag, and one polythene bag also you can keep open like this, tie it up at the end. Just see, whenever you are having the experiment, you should always have one which is acting as a negative control, in which nothing is there, so that uh, uh, you can compare that no other environmental factor is affecting your experiment. uh, you should have one, the positive one, in which you are performing an experiment, and one should be the negative one. In this, plant should not be there, so that you can understand that whatever you are observing at the end of your experiment, it is not because of something else. Okay, so just tie up the plant for in the daytime, preferably in the daytime. Okay, and it is good if you go for morning, around 9 to 11. That is a very good time for observing this experiment. And once you do this, then you can see after some time, you can see water droplets formed on this particular polythene, okay, inside the surface of it. And if the outside temperature is little bit warmer, then this water vapor will condense also. You can see the condensation, they will start falling from the surface of this particular bag. And after some time, it will, the water will get accumulated at this place. Okay, it's a you should then you for this you should have a very healthy plant, and very it's a small one which is very young in that behavior, because that will show you the faster results. Okay, so one type of experiment can be done for observing the transpiration, either it is happening or not. And if the one bag which is empty, it will definitely don't show any type of water vapor inside it. So you can understand that these droplets uh, comes from the process of transpiration. They are not coming from the air or something, some other environmental factor. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, then you can see one another experiment also, that in that what you can do, you can have three pots, and all of them should be planted with a small young plant. Okay, and do one has to be kept empty
Ma'am,
and
what is the
cover.
use of cobalt chloride paper?
It acts like you must have heard about pH papers.
Yes, miss.
Okay, it acts in the same way. As you know that pH papers are very much sensitive to acid and bases. Cobalt chloride is very much sensitive to the vapor, water vapor.
Water.
So water, it is too sensitive for the for the presence of humidity. If it is humid also, then also it will show you the results. It will turn pink, from blue to pink. Okay, so you can give a confirmation that whatever you have done, some other not by just seeing the this type of result. Cobalt chloride is also showing the presence of water around it, and it is because of transpiration. In this experiment, that is what you have to do, that cover this particular with a transparent jar, this plant. Okay, in this you don't put anything, just after some time you will observe the water vapor on this jar inside the surface. And in this, just uh, keep one scale, wooden scale, at one end, and just attach a paper to it, and after some time, because of presence of water vapor, this will turn from blue to green, sorry, pink. So blue to pink, and that will be the confirmation, because in science, in biology, this is always a demand that give the confirmation from different type of proofs. So this is one of the proof you are doing, and keep one jar which is empty in a pot, and in that also you keep that cobalt chloride paper, and definitely because no other factor of the environment is interfering, no water vapor can be seen, and this paper will remain blue. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so this is just to observe that transpiration is occurring or not. There are lot many other methods also for confirmation, and apparatus also for the observing transpiration. Okay, so in school, definitely you have some arranged apparatus, Ganong's Ganong's apparatus is very famous one. I think it should be available in your labs too. Okay, and that is how the transpiration can be observed. First, if this is clear for you, then we can go for another type, because if you are observing a transpiration, then you should see that, measure it, how much transpiration is occurring. So measurement of transpiration can also be done. Now see, this is not 100% reliability, okay? Because when you are performing some experiments like this, definitely it is not only the one factor which is involved. As we studied that factors affecting photosynthesis, same thing, factors affecting transpirations are also have a simultaneous relation with each other. Okay, but right now what we are seeing, that let's measure the transpiration. So you have to uh, doing the weighing for it. Okay, let's weigh it, how it can be done. I think in lower classes, or when you are small, then you must be doing that. You can have a bucket filled with water, and you put up a stone in it, and the water which spills out, that is equal to the volume of the stone, that you must have done or seen.
Yes, miss.
Okay, that we know that, so the stone which replaces the space, that is equal to the space curve, that I think that is physics experiment, something volume and all
Bioengineers.
everything is, yes, yes, that is involved. Same thing which we are doing over here is weighing method, and first weighing method can be done, that if you take a pot, and if you plant a small twig in it, uh, then what you have to do is, uh, you have to first weigh it before starting your experiment at the starting point. So whatever the grams or you are obtaining, that you have to mention. Then what you have to do is cover the surface of this soil with either a plastic, or cover it with some wax, something like that. Okay, then you have to cover the whole surface of the soil, and the only uh, the space which is remaining to lose the water is through the roots only. Definitely soil is not going to lose water if it is covered. Okay, so after you can observe that after 12 hours, what is the weight? Then after 24 hours, what is the wait for it? Like this you can go for till your plant can survive like this. Okay, so till 48 hours definitely you can go for this. And the loss of weight definite, because the water is going, you are losing, it is just because of this root, uh, not from these places. No evaporation is not there, drying because of surrounding air is not there. So only the root from which you are losing water is this. So you can see that the loss of weight, that means transpiration is happening. And that is how the water is being utilized by the plants. But it is not the exact way to calculate that how much amount of water is being utilized by the plant at a particular time. It is just to mention that yes, transpiration is happening through this route, and definitely the loss of weight is showing you that particular thing. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so uh, just you have to take a precaution that the whole surface should be covered. Even if your pot is made up of earthen pot is there, then definitely it loses water from here also. That part is also should be controlled. So that is why this is not a 100% guarantee, but still one of the experiment which you can perform. Okay, so another thing you can see, you just take one green plant and take it in a test tube like structure. Okay, fill it just as you have a money plant at your home, and you put it up in a water inside your room. So just place the twig inside it. Okay, and no roots should be there, so that it can, because in the if inside your house you are doing, roots are not necessarily present. It is okay if you are placing the twig inside it, and cover this test tube with a oil. The uh, topmost layer should be made up of oil. So definitely this particular region is blocked, and whatever absorption will be done by the plant is through this root only. Okay, so you can mark that at particular time water level is here. After some time you can mark it, the loss of water level here also, here also. That can be also be done. So this is how you can weigh the transpiration. Understood?
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are just the experiments to play with them. And if you don't understand the theory, just go for the videos which are being there on the YouTube and all that. I think you must be knowing more apps than me. Okay, so just go through it. And there is one apparatus that one I use, that potometer. Poto means to drink. Okay. Poto means to drink. So how much amount of water is plant is drinking? That is why potometer term is being utilized. And one of them is very much famous is Gannon's potometer. Okay. The diagram which is given in your textbook, it is very nice one. Same apparatus is available in your labs also. Okay, so that is how it can be seen, that if you have a vessel of water, and you should have one type, this type of tube, which should be connected with one more apparatus, and place a twig inside it. twig should be having a good number of leaves and broad leaves that is showing faster results. That's why we should use the broad leaves plants. And in that you have one controller over here, okay, and one scale over here, something like that is mentioned. Just see that it is if you see the description that uh, definitely this plant is absorbing water from the lower region of its base, and here one air bubble should be introduced in this capillary. And how it should be introduced, I think if you see the videos then it will be clear for you. Or incorporate a bubble, this when this is being dipped in the water, that at that time you should take a very proper care. uh, 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 I think if you have performed experiments in your labs, have you gone chemistry, or have you used pipettes?
No, ma'am, not so much.
Not
Yeah.
so much. Fine. I
Also,
think you still not have used them, but that is why I am saying that when you will use them, then you will practically understand that how the bubbles are uh, hindering your experiment, how they are because bubbles are not a good sign. If they are in the glass tube, they are not the good sign, because they are the one which are hindering the experiments. But here we are purposefully inserting a bubble, because once the plant will start absorbing the water, and it will create a suction, then it will to fulfill the amount required, it will absorb the water from this jar. And once this jar will create a suction, then this bubble will start moving. Okay, it will start moving along with the force of water. Through that you can understand that how much through this scale you can see that from what a distance covered by this bubble at what time, particular given time. Suppose if you take at in every 1 hour, suppose at 9 o'clock, how much it has been moved, what is the position. Suppose it is at 0, at 10 it is 0.3 centimeters it has been moving. So and you at 11 it can be 0.5, something like that. So you can see the movement of bubble just because of the suction pressure created by the plant, and that is how you can confirm that yes, transpiration is occurring. Understood? Fine.
yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Okay, and
Yes, ma'am.
see, you bubbles you must have uh, faced them, that when you are having your uh, cold drinks and you are using a straw, and sometimes what is happening that your straw is not at the proper place, or it is if your the drink is being getting completed and little bit is there in there, then when you suck it, then you have lot of bubble in it, that particular straw. You can hear the voice even there, it is coming with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the in pipettes also this is happening. And if you have to incorporate the bubble, then you have to place this capillary or a tube with a particular position, and particular way is there. You should create a disturbance a little bit, then the bubble will be there in the but this apparatus. Okay, and that is what the negativity for this experiment also. If you can see that it is a negative part of this, because introducing a bubble is a difficult task, because uh, these bubbles are very notorious one. When you don't want them, they will definitely come, but when you want them, they will never come. Okay, so that is what is written for the Ganong spotometer, that introducing a bubble is little bit difficult. And another negative issue for this is that there may be the possibility sometimes that plant may not survive for that duration you have to mention the result. And there are a lot many other negative factors can work out for this. There no this particular apparatus is not placed correctly, the levels of the apparatus should are not correct, then the you, results may not be visible as clear as you want to see them. Understood? So this is what the Ganong spotometer is.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so here what we are in each and every experiment, what we have seen that we are not seeing the transpiration directly. What we are observing or what we are measuring, that how much amount of water is being sucked or absorbed, or how much amount of water is uptaken by the plant. Okay, so this is how the transpiration can be experimented um, when you want to see it. Now it is clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, just see that particular diagram of this photometer, and anything in through which you couldn't understood, just ask me.
No, I've understood everything.
Okay, fine. It's a simple one. It's not very difficult.
Miss, respiration takes place in the roots also.
Yes, beta. See, wherever living cells are there in the plants, respiration is going to be there.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Okay, because see, according to us, the word respiration is through nose, lungs, and exchange of O2 and CO2. Is it clear?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So for humans it is like this, but for plants, no nose is there, no lungs are there. Okay, and this is what is done, exchange of gases through leaves and all that. But respiration in plants is something related to the glucose. Okay, that is why it is happening inside the each and every living cell.
Yes, this also takes place in human bodies also, means in the cells, intercellular respiration.
Yes, yes, intercellular respiration occurs in our body also.
Yes, miss.
Okay, uh, uh, you have an glycolysis. All these words are there. Leave it. It's very much different thing which we are, which I said. Okay, so leave. But do understand that it occurs in cells too. Okay, so respiration. This is a physical respiration. You are what you are asking me, and this is a cellular respiration in the plants. It is
Okay.
everywhere, whether it is roots or it is leaves, barks, stems, anything you can consider. Okay,
Okay, miss.
fine. So this is what about this. So let's see. Then we will proceed further with the types of transpiration. Okay. So there are three types: through stomata, through cuticles, and through lenticels. Okay. if lenticels is not clear to you, we will definitely see the diagram and its location in the plants where they are present. Okay, so first of all, let's cover the transpiration by stomata, because almost 85% of transpiration occurs through stomata only, okay, in the plants, and rest of the 15% is carried out by cuticle and lenticels. So, and these lenticels are for the older trees, older plants. And if for trees, if we go, this type of respiration. So let's begin with the stomata first of all. Uh, you
Yes,
are
miss.
clear with the diagram of the leaf which we studied last time?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So upper epidermis, lower epidermis are there. Then we have palisade tissue, that is compact cells below the upper epidermis, and you have a spongy mesophyll region also. So mesophyll is made up of both palisade and spongy tissues. Okay, and if we go for dicot leaves, okay, let's see for the uh, dicots. Dicots leaves. The one diagram which we studied last time, it is for dicots only. Okay, because you can see the difference in that leaf, that the color at the upper and lower region. So it is little bit darker, and this one is light. Leaves basically, if you see them, okay, and if the presence of cuticle, it is there in present, and at lower it is either very much less or it is not present. Okay, and if you go for dicots, the number of stomata in upper region they are less, while in lower they are more. Okay, so that is what you have to understand. Number of stomata in the lower surface of the leaf, they are more when you count them. You can even count the number of stomata. There is a method for counting them. Okay, and it is all goes under the microscope. So as we are clear with the structure of stomata also, that guard cells are there, and supporting surrounding cells are also there. Okay. And we know how does it closes and how it opens up, with because of presence of sugar or K plus ions, okay, that we have studied. And it regulates the closing and opening of the stomata, and definitely in daytime stomatas are open. Okay, but for not for the whole day, actually for early period of the day they are open from morning. If you consider from morning, suppose if we take from 6 o'clock to uh, let's take up till 11, they are completely open. Then they will start minimizing their space, minimizing the opening, so that it can resist the transpiration, because more transpiration is not good for the plant. Okay, it will dry the ground. First of all, the whole water is being sucked, because if the transpiration increases, the ground level water will also decrease. So basic thing about stomata you should remember. First, their numbers, and how they our closing and opening was done. Okay, then let's see how this water is being lost by the plant through this particular space, then you have to see that as we studied about the epidermal region, and in that you have little bit of space after. Okay, and here also if you can see,
Means it
so
is not necessary that the spaces on the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis are on the same locant.
no, it is not like it should be parallel or something like that. They are completely random.
Okay, miss.
Okay, so that is what you have to see that. Then palisade are there. That is to be done faster. And then you have spongy.
Ma'am, can you please show the previous page as I've not mentioned one point?
Which one, beta? This one?
Yes, miss. That dichots part I have not written. I'm writing.
Okay, you want to write it?
Yes, miss, I'm writing now.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am, done.
Done?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. So I am trying to arrange for a board soon so that it will be easier for me also to teach. Because just because of lockdown and all that, it is not available anywhere. Let's see how it is working. So you have this type of arrangement in the dicot leaves, and dicot leaves are also named as dorsiventral leaves. Do you know this word? This word dorsiventral?
This dorsal means backward, like that.
Yes. Yeah. You are correct. So if you see that this part is can be considered a dorsal and this is ventral. Okay. So this is nothing but the fusion of these two words, dorsiventral. So these leaves are also named as dorsiventral because you can distinguish the surface, dorsal and ventral. Okay, so one which is at the this side, this is considered as ventral for the leaves, and this one is the dorsal. Okay, and dorsiventral leaves, they are showing this type of structure of the cells, and you can see that wherever the stomata space is present. Okay, let me mention it like this here. Okay, can you see this place? This should not be open. So you can see wherever the openings are there for their stomata, for the only for the stomata, then you can see there is a very much huge amount of empty spaces are there. You see here also, here also.
For
Okay.
vapor.
Yeah. Yes, beta.
Is that space is for water vapor?
Yes. So see now what is happening. So whatever water is being sucked by the roots, it should reach to the leaves. Okay. And once it reaches in the leaf, then what is happening that there are different type of uh, processes through which the water can be transported from one cell to another. Okay, so one thing is that you have studied is the diffusion. Another process can be termed as osmosis. And there is one more method that is called imbibition. Okay, so let's see how this water molecules do work over here. So whatever water is entering in the leaves, you must be playing sometimes. If your table or on the desk, if the drop of water falls, little bit of drops are there, and if you have a pen or a knife or spoon with you, sometimes what you do, you just hold one water drop and you just drag it to the another one, then it will become little bit big, then you will drag it to the another, then this will also get incorporated. Have you done this?
Yes, miss, sometimes.
Yeah, so you can this we do when nothing is there. So on a desk you must have seen this, or wherever, sometimes even on the uh, mirror of the cars, if you are traveling, then also you must have done this. So water molecules have a tendency to get incorporated easily with same type of molecule, that is wherever H2O molecules are there, they can incorporate themselves easily with each other, but they can remain separately also. And that is just because of the surface tension. I think you, this term you must have studied in physics or chemistry.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so they remain away from each other, and they can stay like that. That is just because of surface tension. Now what happens when this water is entering in this particular region, then it should be there in this intercellular spaces only. Okay, so it remains over here, it never it do enters the cell, but once it is entering the cell, then it has to undergo for the whole metabolic process. That means the cell will utilize it, some of it, then some of it will be released by the cells, but huge amount of water will remain in these spaces. Now if this particular cell is absorbing the it is obtaining the water from the roots, then extra amount of water has to be released by this particular surface or the cell wall, and it will release this water in form of film. This cell will develop a water film around it. Okay, you see something like this. So what is happening, that due to the inside the cell you have solutes. Okay, and due to that turgor pressure will be more. Okay, so the pressure of the solutes will be more, and what they will do, they will push water molecules outside, because they will utilize only little bit amount of water whatever is required to them. Rest of the water has to be released out of the cell, otherwise what will happen, this cell will become dilute inside, and that should not be proceeded, because it is not good for the survival of the cell. So the extra amount of water should be released out, and it is released in form of film. So wherever the water is released, it will be like this, and after that, once this the whole layer is completed, or it is this particular area becomes saturated with this type of film, and this water will travel from one space to another through the process called osmosis, and once it reaches at this area, it will be in form of water droplets, or that is called vapor, and it will be like this in that space, and this water is getting accumulated till this particular region is saturated by the water molecules. That means if this region is incomplete or empty, till then this space will not get activated. It will keep on incorporating the water molecules. Okay, so this area, this region should be filled with water molecules, and once it is saturated, then this stomata will allows the water vapor to escape through these pores. Understood this?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so this is how the stomatal transpiration occurs. Okay, and imbibition, the process of imbibition is nothing but attachment of one molecule to the another one which are of same type. One water molecule which will imbibe the other water molecule. It will force the other water molecule to come at this place. That is called imbibition. Understood?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so that is how it is occurring, and from this region, if this water is being coming, water vapor is coming out, that is the process called diffusion. Okay, because it is releasing in the environment, and in environment outside it is completely dry, or presence of gases are there, so water vapor is also in form of gas. So this gaseous form of water will be released in the environment with the process called diffusion. If inside the leaf it is happening, definitely it is through osmosis and imbibition. But once this it is in form of vapor and it is ready to release in the environment, that is then it should be in form of diffusion. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so just do one thing, that read that stomatal transpiration from your textbook, uh, and ask me if you have not understood it.
Okay, miss.
Just go through it. It will take only 4 to 5 minutes.
I'm from 7:45. I'm having my school classes. So may I
Okay.
leave? May I leave the class?
Yeah, sure, beta. If you are having the class, then sure. I will end up also. Okay, fine. If it is something like this, because
Thank you,
you are
ma'am.
only two, I can not continue with one. No?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Miss, I read the stomatal respiration.
Okay. Anything to which I have not covered or something which you have not understood?
No, miss. This all I've understood, miss.
Okay, fine. So that is what the stomatal transpiration is. And next one is cuticle and lenticels. Let's say if Ayush is not there, we will do this in the next class. And I will try to arrange a extra class for this. Okay.
Okay, miss. Miss, I had a small doubt in genetics chapter.
Genetics you are having. Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay. Fine. Ask me.
Miss, we have read about the X-linked inheritance, the diseases that are caused due to disorders on the X chromosome. Miss,
Okay. Fine. Yes.
but the diseases which are caused by Y-linked inheritance, that is not given in this means chapter. Miss, is there any disease? I want to know that only.
Yeah, you do have Y-linked chromosome diseases also, but actually, what is that? That because X is the one which is coming from both the parent. Okay, X because Y is only for the males.
Yes, miss.
Okay, you are getting from the male parent, but X is the one you are obtaining from both the parents. That is why X linked diseases are very wide, and they are generally discussed in the books. Y linked are also there, but they are very rare, very different one.
Okay, miss. And miss, in the uh, uh, pea plant experiment in the F2 generation, miss, do we
Yes.
have to write the genetic ratio also? Miss, it means great, big.
Which one? Monohybrid or dihybrid?
It's dihybrid cross, that one. Miss, the F2
Okay,
gen,
for F2 you are getting 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1, right?
that is the phenotyping. And miss, I'm talking about the genotyping.
Genotype. I don't think so. If for class 10th it is required. It is required
Okay,
in 12th science.
I had derived once. It has means it is very long. 1:2:2:4 like
Yes,
that. It
yes, yes.
goes on.
I know you. If you have done with this something like this, let me show it you. I think a round and yellow.
Around
That
yellow.
is yes, yes. Then you must have written all the combinations for it. R, something
Okay,
like
yes.
that. Na? Okay, fine. Huh? It's a very big, and you have to count down that whole checkerboard for it.
Yes, miss.
Okay, you have to do that. So I don't think so for class 10th it is required here.
Okay, miss. Thank you. So I had
Okay, because I don't think so. Okay, okay, because the thing is that these are the questions are being asked when you are going for NEET or any other entrance after 12th. So basically for class 10th I don't think so it
genetics
is
is
a required.
there in the heat, miss.
Yes, 12th, if you go for a biology, core biology, then genetics will not leave you anyway.
Oh, yes, miss.
Okay. And I think it's a good one. Genetic is a good part to study.
Yes, miss. It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So that is what the thing is. And
Thank you, miss.
I will, then I will leave one, I will try to, if for Thursday morning, will it be okay for both of you if I keep the
No, miss.
class?
Thursday morning we do have a maths class from high school only in this time.
Oh, or at 6:30?
Yes, miss.
Okay,
Maths
fine.
class from high school on Thursday.
Okay, oh, fine. So I let's look. Okay, fine.
Yes,
I
we can
will
have it on
plan
Friday only.
Friday afternoon last time as we did, right?
Yes, 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 yes. It was convenient.
Yes, okay, fine. I will. Okay, I will try to arrange if it is possible. Okay.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
So okay, fine. Okay, you can leave.
Okay.